Welcome to another episode of the Fan Zone podcast. Your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's number one podcast.
Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of the Fan Zone podcast. It is the preview show, episode 86, and it is ahead of our trip down to Kenilworth Road as we take on Luton Town. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see all the usuals in the chat. Ian, nice and early. You're at 8 p.m. I'm not sure if you saw. We were live half an hour later, but I appreciate you getting in the chat nice and early, mate. David, Jordan, nice to have you all joining us tonight. We are joined by Lewis, sorry. The Luton fan. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Hopefully we can get back-to-back home wins. It's been a while since we've done that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a good job you've had that the Tuesday night game before jumping on the preview show tonight, or else you might have said no to my invite after Saturday. I imagine the mood is a little bit better after Tuesday night.
100%. I didn't expect us to win, if I'm being honest with you. I didn't know. Actually, in fact, I don't know what to expect from Luton, especially this season. When we go into games thinking we're going to win, we just don't, or we just make it really difficult for ourselves. And then when we do play against the better sides, we look half decent. So it's just weird. It's been a really weird season for us. Yeah,
I think it has been for everyone, really. I mean, that's League One for you, isn't it? As always, tonight's preview show is sponsored by B2B Workwear and Janitorial. Get down in the description, click on the links and see all their good stuff, any for your PPE and workwear needs. So let's get straight into it with our season so far recap. So, Lewis, Luton currently sit 7th in the table, just a point behind the Whites. How would you assess the season so far?
Frustrating. Like I've already mentioned, yeah, very frustrating. I think we've not even performed anywhere near 100%. We know we can do a lot better than what we've showed so far. It's just been a really stop-start season. Obviously, change of manager. There's a lot of expectation with the parachute payments and the squad which we've got. We should be doing a lot better than what we're currently doing at the moment. But we're still adjusting to life under Jack Wilshere with his style of play. And yeah, just having a new set of coaching staff, because under Matt Bloomfield, the relegation, unfortunately, bad things kept happening. And, I think you can get away with it in the Championship because, I think Luton fans, we consider that more our level. But League One, we don't consider it our level. So when you're not performing at the level which we expect in the third division of English football, then decisions need to be made. They got made. And yeah, we're now just outside those playoff positions, hoping to get into them at the weekend.
Yeah, as you've mentioned, the manager change. Obviously, Matt Bloomfield came in towards halfway through last season and did a relatively decent job. Obviously, didn't get you over the line, but it seemed that all the teams at the bottom end of the Championship had a good run towards the end of the season, and we just didn't quite get enough points. I mean, it was one of the highest points to stay up for a long time in the Championship. So I think you can find yourselves unlucky. I mean, I thought, given that you kind of got a tune out of you towards the end of last season, that I expected Luton to be up there this season. Obviously, massive churning squad as well, coming down from the Premier League just 2 seasons ago. But yeah, it didn't go well for Matt Bloomfield. What have your first impressions have been of Jack Wilshere? And where did it go wrong for Bloomfield, do you think?
Well, I don't think Bloomfield did himself any favours by not winning his first 8 games. That kind of let himself down. He came in, it was in the January window, signed some players. There's still question marks over the players we brought in January, whether or not they were actually good enough. He was part of the recruitment team that decided which players should have came in. We did sign a few League One players in Ali, who played for Exeter last year, and Asgard, who played for Wigan. And Ali's still with us. Asgard went to Rangers in the summer. But yeah, not winning the first 8 league games was massive. And then there were certain decisions. Although the last 9 games, last 10 games in the championship season were really good. I think we had the third most points out of any championship side.
Yeah.
That final day of the championship season,
Crazy.
He picked the wrong team, and the tactics and the way we went about that last game, it was baffling. So then to be relegated off the back of losing 5-3 to West Brom, and all we needed was a point to stay up, was frustrating. And then this summer, I think, with the players we signed, a lot of people were, okay, we're signing some good players. Unfortunately, at the moment, those players which we've signed haven't delivered yet, which is another frustrating thing that's happened so far this year. But Matt Bloomfield, he carried on making some poor decisions at the start of this season, and it felt like he was just trying to overcomplicate things. We did have an injury crisis, which, isn't his fault. So he was adjusting between formations to make, to just put a team out because we had load of fullbacks out injured. So playing centre halves as right backs or as wing backs, it became really, difficult to watch, watching us, especially at the start, struggling to break teams down. To be honest, we're still struggling to break teams down now. But yeah, it just carried on making the wrong decisions. But under Jack, it feels like he gets it. He gets it a lot more. I think it helps that he started his career at Luton as a 9-year-old. So he understands it a little bit, and he's still got family and friends that are Luton supporters. So he understands the pain which we're going through.
Yeah.
So it feels like, a new bit of life has come into Luton at the moment. And obviously winning at Stockport the way we did to go top of the league and win 3-0, I think that was a statement. But then we all thought that was, we turned a corner. But then we played Rotherham and then we got beat 5-0 by Barnsley, which came out of nowhere. So, yeah, it's been baffling this year. I really think it's been a poor league. I don't think many teams are playing at their full potential. In fact, I think one team is, and that's Stevenage, because they've got 2 points per game.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, pretty much everyone we spoke to of teams that are near the top of the league or kind of was expected to before the season has kind of said the same thing, where we feel like there's been something missing. It's been a topsy-turvy league. It's been you can't really predict games, and we feel like we've been disappointing, but then everyone's still only 2 or 3 points off top because there's nothing in. As you said, I think it's a poor league towards the top end, as in there's no one kind of running away with it. I mean, obviously last year Birmingham were a bit of an exception, but the years gone by, Portsmouth kind of ran away with it, and then a few years ago Plymouth and Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday all got 96 plus points. It was a bit ridiculous. Whereas I think it's going to be a lot lower this year. I don't think people are going to touch 96 anyway. So yeah, it kind of gives everyone a little bit of hope that you can leave it a little bit later this year to put a run together and still make it top 6 and even top 2. Who knows? We have had a question in the chat. We're talking a bit about managers tonight from Leslie. Nice to see you today, Leslie. And it is, what do you think of Rob Edwards as a manager? Obviously, heroically took you up to the Premier League, but also took you down and kind of left you languishing at the bottom of the Championship table. What's the overall thoughts on Rob Edwards?
I loved him at the start because he hit the ground running, but he took over a very good Luton squad, which Nathan Jones left. Nathan Jones left so many good foundations at this football club. Unfortunately, I think those foundations have kind of died and been destroyed with the back-to-back relegations, but he pretty much won promotion with Nathan Jones' squad. He deserves credit because we did go on an unbelievable run of form in the second half of our promotion winning season, and to go to Wembley and win it. We did give it a good go in the first half of the Premier League season, but then everything started to go wrong from the second half of the Premier League season, where tactics, he was very stubborn, he wouldn't change. That carried on in the Championship. He wouldn't sign certain players in the Championship summer window. We needed a refresh. We didn't do that. He looked like a defeated man towards the end of it. He should have gone 2 months sooner. I'm not his biggest fan due to how stubborn he is. And as you can already see, if he carried on, being really good at Luton, he would have gone eventually because he showed that he isn't a loyal person after leaving Borough after 2 months. I'm not quite convinced with him tactically. I think he needs good people around him to do a good job. I think he's a fantastic man manager, so the players will absolutely love him. But when it comes to tactical decisions, I think he needs a tactical assistant coach in order to be successful. And that's why I think he done really well at Borough, because he had one of the best assistant managers in the EFL by his side, which I think helped. But I don't think he will last long at Wolves. I understand why he's done it. But yeah, I think he's damaged his reputation by going to Wolves after leaving a project within like 2 months.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, obviously, you jumped ship from Forest Green as well after when he got promoted, didn't he? To them down the road, Watford, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and then obviously went to you lot, so a bit more loyalty there as well. But yeah, interesting. Interesting to get some perspective. Obviously, you mentioned, not to bring it up again, the back-to-back relegations, but that kind of leaves your squad in a bit of a weird shape, as you've still got some players that were doing in the Premier League, some new signings this season, some that were signed last season to go again in the Championship and obviously fail. Where's the squad at right now? Is it a bit of a mishmash?
Yeah, what hasn't helped is injuries. So certain new players that we've signed in the summer haven't been available too often. So we haven't been able to use more of the newer players compared to the older players. Some of the actual older players that were part of our Premier League season actually have had long-term injuries. This is how bad the injury crisis has been at Luton. It's actually been ongoing since the Premier League season. We just keep going through this cycle of a new group of players just keep getting these long-term injuries. We've got Al Hamidi at the club, which was meant to be the statement signing of the summer. I don't think he's featured one sub appearance, and he's got injured again on international duty. So yeah, it's been really frustrating with players not really, I want to say, claiming a starting place within the team. I still can't predict what the starting 11 is going to be on the weekend, if that makes sense, because of the chopping and changing. Yeah. I think Wilshire's still trying to work out his best 11. But I think we are, at the moment, I think defensively, if you look at the stats, we kind of look okay because, we've got the most clean sheets in the league. But when it comes to the creative aspect of our game, we just don't create enough. And that's where the problems are. I think if we knew how to score goals, I think it won't be a problem because we've got the quality to score. We're just not creating.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see what happens on Saturday. Let's get Statman's perspective on what's going to happen on Saturday.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Get Stats On with the Statman, and today we're of course going to preview this weekend's game against Luton Town. And this could be a bit of an interesting one, if I do say so myself, because Luton are a very interesting team. Of course, they didn't have the best start to the season, but they were a Premier League team just 2 years ago, and while the squad has changed a little bit, they've still got some quality players. Ted Mengi. I'm a big fan of Mr. Ted Mengi, and let's forget who he used to play for. He is actually just quite a good player, and he is rapid. I have never seen a footballer move like him. They've also got Isaiah Jones, who not too long ago was considered one of the best young prospects in the Championship, playing week in, week out for Middlesbrough. So they have got some quality talent. Even Jacob Brown, who not too long ago was playing at Stoke, flying in the Championship, played for Luton in the Prem. They have got some quality in the squad, and you sort of get that feeling that once it clicks, they're going to be pretty blooming good. So this could be an interesting one. Now, Jack Wilshere is the manager, unless you've been living under a rock, which is still mental to me. And let's move on to how he sets them up, shall we? So, he has played a couple of formations since he made the move, wasn't too long ago. He's played a 4-3-3. 4-2-3-1, bit of a back three sometimes as well, so it could be interesting. I'd say he might go for the back 3/5 again against you guys, but he might not do that because they're playing at home, and that could be seen as quite negative. So, yeah. But I'm going to say that doesn't matter too much. I'm going to come on to why very soon. In his 8 games in charge of Luton. They've won 5, drawn 1, and lost 2. Have I done the maths right there? Yes, I have. Come on. But no, yeah. So they've had a decent spell under him, much better than the start of the season. They sit 7th right now, just outside the playoff spots. And he'll be hungry for a win because they've beat Stockport County 3-0. And yes, there was a red card, but that was on the 81st minute. So, you know what I mean? But, to be fair, they have also just been packed in by Barnsley 5-0. So, it's sort of one of them where you have no idea what's going to happen until ref blows whistle. So, yeah. Now, it would be quite pointless me looking at their stats from the whole season, would it not? Because they've already had a new manager. So I picked 2 games out in particular, and it is Stockport 3-0 win away from home, by the way, and Barnsley 5-0 loss, also away from home. So, against Stockport, the game that they won, they had 47% possession. But against Barnsley, the game they lost, got battered, they had 69% possession. I think you can see where I'm going to go with this. Against Stockport, they created 4 big chances, missed 2, but that was only from 8 shots as well, so the quality of their chances were pretty good. Against Barnsley, they only created 1 big chance with 7 shots. Only 2 of them were on target, and of the 8 shots in the Stockport game, 6 of them were on target. So, again, I think you can see where I'm going with this, but we'll save it to the end, shall we? Against Stockport, they created 1.64 expected goals from open play, and I can hear you go, Statman, shut up about XG. I've just rocked the camera. But, yeah, that just sort of, I am going to say this, but they're not the best from set pieces. My bad. They could easily score a couple now, but yeah, set pieces are not their strongest point, shall we say. And, yeah, so they created 1.64 XG against Stockport, scored 3 goals. So that's pretty good. I literally doubled it. And but against Barnsley, they only created 0.39, even though they had a big chance. So, yeah, not ideal. And then against Stockport, the last of the stats that we're going to compare, the Luton goalkeeper made 4 saves and stopped all 1.26 expected goals that he faced. Basically, he kept everything out and he played quite well. Against Barnsley, he only made 1 save and stopped just 0.6 of the expected goals. Now, I can hear you saying if he misses the ball, it's going in. But, yeah, that's just the quality of the chance, really, from the 2.8 that he faced. So, that wasn't his best performance, shall we say. So, that's sort of telling me that they play much better on the transition. And that goes for the whole team. Because the strikers seem to be more in the game, even though they're on the ball a bit less, but they can play on the last line, they can make the runs in behind, and when they get the ball, they know they've got to do something with it. Whereas maybe when they've got possession, they're thinking a bit, I'm going to get loads of chances here, it doesn't matter if it's not that good. That's just what I'm saying. And it's the same for keeper, to be fair, because, again, he was much better against Stockport, maybe because he was more active. You know, when Luton play on the transition, that means the opposition tend to play on the transition as well. And so he probably faced quite a lot of chances. I mean, he did. He made 4 saves. And but against Barnsley, they had loads of the ball. And so maybe, just maybe, he dropped in concentration. And then when he was needed, he didn't perform. That's just maybe. May not be the case, but it could be. So test the bleeding keeper. And, yeah, the main thing is they seem to be better on the transition when they've not got the ball. So, you're away from home. You could just sit in a mid-block like we've talked about many times before. And I think that would work. But to be fair, I imagine Schumacher wants to go there and assert his football. Because, I mean, it has been working. So, again, it's like last week. You got a bit of a toss-up. What do? You've got a couple options. But, yeah, just to go into Barnsley's goal, because this could help make Stephen Schumacher's mind up for him. The first Barnsley goal came from winning it back quite high up the pitch, playing it forward, easy goal. The second goal came from a winger, the left winger in this case, but I'm sure it would be Cozy Dubry for you, beating his man and putting a cross in for an easy tap-in. And the fourth was near enough exactly the same. So, again, get it wide, quickly, beat the fullback, stick it in the box, goal. It's that blooming simple. I tell you this for free. Put your money away. But yeah, I'll let you enjoy the rest of the podcast, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Interesting as always from the Statman. It'd be interesting to see where Shuey goes with it. As he said, he's got a couple of options. Do we kind of hold off and bank on Luton not doing much with the ball at the feet, or assert our dominance like we have done sometimes this season? Also, what's interesting, Lewis, we've had another question in the chat from David. He said, if Luton get one of the promotion places, who will get the other automatic place? So a bit of, I want to say, two questions in one. Who do you think is going to get promoted this season? Who do you think looks the strongest? And also, which will be interesting, as you say, you've kind of performed better against a better team this season. Who has impressed you most in just games that Luton have played?
So I haven't seen, of course, everyone play. I've seen some of your games, the ones on TV, more earlier on in the season when you're struggling to get that second goal, the third goal to kill teams off. But you are a very attacking side. If I'm being honest with you, the best team I've seen so far this season is Barnsley. They could have won 8-0. I'm not joking. If I was a Barnsley fan and I walked away from that stadium, I would have been very disappointed that we didn't win 8-0. That 5-0, it honestly, it was every time Barnsley went forward, I thought they were going to score. They hit the bar twice as well.
Jeez.
And they missed, I think, 3 one-on-one chances as well. So literally every time going forward, we had no midfield, no defence. It was just one of the worst games I've seen this year. But yeah, Barnsley are definitely one of the best. And believe it or not, and it's a weird team to say, but the best team to come to Luton so far this year is Mansfield.
Wow.
Don't know why, but they are the best. They could have won, again, 5-0 against us, just the way they played. And then they gave up after 70 minutes because they knew we weren't going to get the goal. We were controlling possession, but we just couldn't break them down. So those are the two best teams I've seen from like an away and a home perspective. I do think Stockport are going to get it. If we're going to win promotion, I think it would be Stockport as well because of just their record of always improving season upon season. Dave Challinor, I think, is a fantastic manager. Yeah. I know they're going through a sticky spell at the moment. They do have a couple of injuries. I think Norwood's still out injured for them. Basically, that makes them tick. Once he comes back into the side, I'm sure they're going to get better. They will also recruit well in January, I'm sure. But yeah, I think Stockport for me, just from what I've seen. And when we played against them and beat them 3-0, they should have been 2-0 up before we scored our first goal. We scored our goal pretty much, like the Statman said, on the transition against the run of play. And yeah, and once we got our goal, that pretty much, I think, heads dropped a little bit for Stockport.
Yeah.
And then we just basically got the second and then got the third in the second half to kill it off. But yeah, I think Stockport, if Luton don't win promotion, well, if Luton win promotion and Stockport get the other place.
Interesting. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Right, it is now time to have a look what's going on the injury front. So yeah, I know you mentioned you've been in an injury crisis for what seems like a couple of seasons now. Not to rub it or anything, but Bolton at the minute is pretty much a clean bill of health, which is, I mean, we said it last week, and it's the first time we've said that for a long, long time. I mean, ever on this podcast, I'm pretty sure. I think Thierry Gale is the only one that Saturday might be too early for him. Ethan Arahan, I think, will have to come back in because Josh Ian is suspended. And yeah, he was bigging up McAtee as well a lot in his press conference. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back in. Obviously, former Luton Town as well. Not that he did he ever even play for you? Not that he played.
Never made a single appearance for us.
No.
Well,
barely a former Luton Town player. Yeah. So how is it on the injury front in Luton, mate?
Our press conference isn't until tomorrow, so I'm a bit unsure whether or not certain players will be returning on Saturday. I know Naki Wells had a slight ankle injury, the same with Isaiah Jones. Jordan Clark might be back, who's been at Luton for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Been here for a long time. We desperately need him in midfield. I'll tell you why when we talk about which Bolton player I would like in my Luton team. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it on the injury front. Like Al Hamidi's out for this game, so yeah, it's hard to really know until the press conference tomorrow if certain players are back or not.
Yeah, fair enough. Leslie has reminded me, obviously, Vic. Adebayo has been out since January, I'm pretty sure. I think he's going to be out until at least January. So, yeah. And I've bowler, yeah, really scraping the barrel there, aren't we? A guy who made about, 2-3 appearances off the bench for us last season. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good to say at the minute. Obviously, Dempsey made his first league start in a long, long time last weekend. Impressed pretty well. It'd be interesting to see what we do in midfield because it seems like we've got a million options at the minute. Obviously, as I mentioned before, Josh Sheehan is suspended. So, yeah, you'd imagine it would be Ethan Arahan in midfield and maybe Xavier Simon's back in. But, yes, we will see. Yeah, you did tease the next segment, so let's get straight on to it. Yes, player swap. Who do you fancy from Bolton?
So this might surprise you because he hasn't started many games for Bolton this year, but I would love the Wickham version of him because I've got a feeling maybe for Bolton he doesn't play the exact same, and that's Aaron Morley, because I think his style of football would be absolutely perfect for what we need right now.
Yeah,
just being that fantastic pass in the midfield. I think under Matt Bloomfield, I think Matt got something out of him which made him such a great footballer in Wickham, and Wickham at the time were like the highest goal scorers in the league. And I think part of the build-up play and the creativity in that midfield, Aaron Morley was part of that. Now, we was linked with him in the summer. I don't know how true those rumours were, but I feel like someone like him would actually suit the way Jack wants to play as well. So although Matt isn't our manager anymore, but Jack is very possession-heavy based. And I think Aaron Morley, due to his style of play, would suit it. I don't know what's going on at Bolton. I don't know if Bolton's not the right club for him or what, it's not getting the best out of him. But that Wickham version, 100%, I would like in my team.
Interesting, yeah. It's nice to hear a different name for once because we've basically had Mario Kozudibri every week, as you can probably
imagine. I thought it was too obvious.
Yeah, no, I like it.
We do have, like we've already mentioned, we've got Isaiah Jones, who, his biggest strength is further forward. And I think on his day could also produce, good numbers. We've also got Shaden Morris, who is absolutely rapid, very good. We've got Gideon Kadir. So you've got 3 right wingers there. I just feel like all 3 as well, I think can do well here at this football club and get good numbers. Maybe not quite at the same rate as your lad, but I still think they could all contribute in some way.
Yeah, no, interesting. I like it. Aaron Morley, it's a funny situation, really. I mean, he joined us 3 seasons ago now, if I'm correct. I think I'm correct in saying that. In January, from Rochdale it was, and for the first 6 months he was fabulous. He was brilliant, and I'd probably even say the first 18 months, to be honest. And then it's because Josh Sheehan got injured pretty early on in his Bolton career, and then he came back and basically immediately became one of the best midfielders in the league, kind of out of nowhere. I don't think anyone really expected him to. So we kind of pushed Morley out of the team. And Morley, he was great in his first year, 18 months, and he needed the game time, and he was kind of only getting 10, 15 minutes off the bench here and there. So, at that point, I mean, start of last season, we were a team thinking we were going to be near the top of the table, and Wickham probably mid-table pushing playoffs. So it seemed kind of a good fit to send him to a team that we thought would be lower down in the table. Then you fast forward 6 months, they're top of the league. We're about 8th or 9th, and he's started every game and been one of their best players. So, it was kind of a loan that worked out well for everyone. And then, I was of the opinion that we should have sold him while his stock was high last January. I think there was rumours of around £1 million that Wickham were bidding or were going to bid, and we basically just said, we've got our price. If you don't pay it, he's going nowhere. And then he came back, and the last 6 months of our season, last season was just a disaster, really. Obviously, it was the end for Everton. Schumacher came in and had a brief good spell, and then, it kind of all fell apart. So Morley did okay, but was kind of in and out of the team again. And then in the summer, we signed Xavier Simons, who looks like a championship-level midfielder, and Ethan Arahan, who has been one of the most highly touted young midfielders in League One for the last couple of years, and obviously we've still got Josh Sheehan as well. So again, he's kind of finding it hard to get into the team. Interestingly, he did actually start last Saturday and played pretty well. So yeah, he might keep his place. As I mentioned before, Sheehan is suspended. So yeah, I don't know. You might see him on Saturday. But as for Luton players that I want, I think it's between two midfielders you mentioned before. Jordan Clark has been with you for God knows how long. You said 7 or 8 seasons, and I remember watching a game. I can't remember the specific game, but a couple of seasons ago in the Championship, and he ran the show. And he's one of them that I think if he wasn't kind of a mainstay at Luton, he would have got a move to another Championship team in the summer, or maybe because he's been injured recently. I'm not too sure. And the other one is George Saville, just an thoroughly experienced Championship midfielder who I thought at the time was a really good signing for League One. He's kind of has a Championship quality, but also has the get stuck in you need in League One. So I think I will take George Saville because I think he's played pretty much every game for you this season. You can rely on him. So yeah, I would go George Saville. So George Saville for Aaron Morley, straight swap pretty much. I don't think we'll be too sad about that.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. He's not been at it 100%, Saville, unfortunately. We've seen good spells, but not quite the Championship level midfielder which we were expecting.
Okay.
I think we were expecting a bit more leadership in that midfield, and we haven't quite seen it. But he did have a fantastic game against Huddersfield, to be fair. So hopefully, same again.
Okay, interesting. Right, now it's the dreaded time where we have to say what we think is going to happen. So yes, what's the score? Let's get your predictions in the chat. I'm going to hand over to you first, Lewis. Obviously, I think Tuesday night has given you confidence, giving you some confidence after Saturday. I'd imagine this would have been a bit different how we recorded it on Monday night. And you seem to have stepped up against the better teams. How do you think it's going to go?
I do think you guys are going to try and win. I think we do better naturally when teams actually come to Luton and try and win the 3 points, because we, like the stat guy says, like on the transition, when there's space, we like to exploit it. It's when teams put 11 players behind the ball, that's when we struggle massively with. We just can't break teams down. But my concern is how we're going to stop Amario. Lucky for us, Jack Wilshere, he was part of Jack Wilshere's under-18 Arsenal team that got to the youth final. So at least we got someone who knows everything about him. But I'm scared because Bramall, although Bramall's quite quick, 1v1 defending, not so great. And that's where I think we're going to have a problem. Cal Naismith is also the left-sided centre-half, and he isn't quick at all. And I can see Cal getting a yellow card, maybe picking up a red just for sloppy defending. So that our left-hand side concerns me because of how good Amario is and what he can potentially do. So it's hard to predict this, because if we score the first goal, believe it or not, we don't lose. We've done so well so far this season when we've scored the first goal. It's when we concede the first goal, that's when our heads drop. That's when we kind of admit defeat, and that's when it can get really messy. I like to think Saturday is going to be a draw. I said to myself, if we could get 4 points from Huddersfield and Bolton, I'd be quite happy with that. Yeah, we've got 3. So if we get a point, I'd be quite happy with it. I just don't know how we're going to stop him. He's the problem up on the right-hand side. But then again, you do have other good players. So this is when it gets a little bit tricky. But I feel like, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. I think there's going to be goals in this. I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if this is 0-0.
No, fair enough. Sounds like we're in for an exciting game then. I mean, you're not going to be the first team that's probably thinking all week how to stop Cozy Dewberry. I'm interested to see how it goes, because as you said, similar to yourself, ahead of the Bradford home game, I said if we get 4 points out of Bradford at home and Luton away, I'll be pretty happy with that. Of course, we've got a point against Bradford, so that means we have to win on Saturday for me to be satisfied. Let's look in the chat. David has gone with a 2-2, like yourself, Lewis. David's gone 2-1 Bolton. Wonder 1963 has gone 1-1. Rick has gone 2-0 Bolton. Jordan Hookway's gone 1-0 Bolton, late winner in Limbs. Yeah, could do with another one there. Although we probably had too many this season already, haven't we? So yeah, I am gonna go. I mean, like I said on your channel. For those who don't know, I've not mentioned it yet. Lewis did invite me onto his channel, sent him a little video of how Bolton have been this season and what things going to happen on Saturday. Yeah, as I said on there, I very rarely, I don't think I've ever predicted Bolton not to win on a prediction. So I think I'm going to go 2-1. As you said, I'd be surprised if there's not goals in there. What would worry me is if we did go 1-0 down, because we've fought back a couple of times this season, but yeah, when we've gone 1-0, we look pretty unstoppable. But yeah, similar to you, when we go 1-0 down, our heads have dropped a little bit and teams find it a little bit easy to defend against us. So it'd be interesting, but I am going to go 2-1. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens. Obviously, former Bolton Wanderers midfielder Jack Wilshere in the dugout on Saturday, which will be interesting. Lewis, thanks for joining us. Give yourself a little plug, as I mentioned. Then I'm on your channel. I'm not sure when the video comes out. Give yourself a little plug.
Yeah, so my match preview will come out tomorrow, roughly around about 5-6 o'clock. I do match previews, match reactions. I'm a season ticket holder, so I go to every game. Try and go to as many away games as possible, as we do. And then I also do EFL content as well, but I do mostly all things Luton Town. So anything Luton related, I make a video on it.
Fantastic.
So, my channel is Lewis Williams on YouTube.
Perfect. Yeah, in the description, obviously. So if you want to get a bit more clued up on Luton before we face them on Saturday, go and check out Lewis's channel. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. It's been fabulous. Obviously, a little bit later. Sorry, we've cut into your I'm a Celeb viewing or race across the world, whatever you prefer. Thanks for joining us. A great one. See you later.